All right, so I should be shopping for clothes to start my new job tomorrow. And instead, I'm stuck here stranded again with no food, no water, no vehicle. And so this is all because they are tampering with the vehicle that we currently use, that we rely on. And there's a flat tire. There was a flat tire. There's been a flat tire since Tuesday. And this is all a part of this COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio. This is all a part of their gang-stalking psychological operation. And so it needs to mind control misfortunes so that it can manufacture an electronic holocaust, which is what it's attempting to do, and it is very successful at doing this. The last time I went to take my court papers in to file for domestic servitude and for electronic harassment and malicious harassment and extortion and exploitation and many other things, which it seems like I'm going to need an attorney for that in order to even do that, because it's above my pay grade. And that's even if I'll be able to save up enough money and to actually find an attorney that's willing to help me. But that day that I tried to get into the courthouse to file my court paperwork for domestic servitude, which is slavery, modern day slavery, which is what this gang stalking hypersimulation is. It's exploitation, which is domestic servitude, which is slavery. So anyways, that day they impounded both of my vehicles. And so they're attempting to do a similar technique. They're attempting to adhere a similar technique of torture or punishment. So that way I'll be stressed out and not really know how I'll go about being able to make it to work or go get work clothes or, just pretty much anything for that matter. I had already called it before they even did this little ritual that they're doing monthly, that they've been doing pretty consistently. So I had already called it, already spoke about it and called it out on my program. So there is a flat tire, and I should be going to the Social Security office and getting a copy of my Social Security card. I start work tomorrow. I should be technically going to get whatever I need for that, like work clothes, work shoes, stuff like that. And instead of doing any of that, Jerron had to call out from work yesterday because the tire isn't drivable. So, and then all of the stuff that I had to do today in order to get prepared for my workday tomorrow has also been intercepted and sabotaged because of this flat tire, which was manufactured by the COINTELPRO. This is how they punish Jerron for helping me find a job. So I'm going to, like I said, keep tracking and monitoring and reporting on how a female trafficked victim or targeted individual goes about in their application process, interview process, and just trying to keep a job. Because this COINTELPRO likes to mind control misfortunes so that it can weaponize the ego and weaponize mental health and weaponize depression and weaponize anxiety, manufacture or mind control all of these so-called misfortunes so that it has the narcissistic supply that it needs to continue the ritual abuse and the ritual torture. Because without it, there's nothing. There's not much for them to go on. Of course, at the end of the day, they always have the sexual exploitation, which is their primary tool, primary weapon in this psychological operation or this PSYOP. especially for women, because women care more about their privacy typically than anybody else. So I think women are probably the most self-aware, the most when it comes to who has a conscience and who doesn't. I feel like women definitely have more of a conscience. And so because they have more of a conscience, they prefer to have more privacy. And that's also why rape culture and sexual exploitation is used as a weapon, and it is highly effective, primarily amongst women. So also too, in order to shorten the lifespan of these female TIs, trafficked victims, it's just really sad that somebody like myself, who's such an amazing artist that changed the entire world, has to settle for a job at grocery outlet. But at this point, I am so grateful just even for that. And so I just got to take what I can get. And in a lot of ways, it feels like, somebody going from being drafted into the NFL to losing that and then having to work at a grocery store. I'm saying it's not the same exact situation, but it's very similar. So because I was making a lot more money modeling on set, and in my opinion, that's my way of selling quote unquote art. So because you're not going to find another model with exactly the same body that I have, because of the investments that I have made, that's why it's considered, in my opinion, a masterpiece and an art form. This type of modeling that I do is not sex-based. It's more along the lines of protesting and rioting and advocating and rising above all of this gender-based violence and stuff along those lines. So anyways, with the flat tire, this is also something that they've already desensitized my family to. And it's another way for them to go about trying to sexually exploit me or trying to call me a flat ass. So anyways, it's a very common desensitization tactic or method that they commonly use. And they tamper with the vehicles at least once a month. I'm a little bit stressed over this latest attack that I'm trying to survive. Like I said, I should be out buying clothes and getting ready to start my new job tomorrow. And I'm actually dealing with this and don't even know if I will be able to. I'm living on a prayer over here. And just trying to rise above each and every one of these attacks. So all of this is done to facilitate impoverishment, which is the real reason why so many women don't age well, or maybe they have more health issues. It's because, they don't make a whole lot of money. Like I've kind of already gone over, when I do start going back to work tomorrow and when I do finally start getting paid, not only will I have to pay my traffickers in taxes, but I will also have to pay my serial rapist ex-fiance, who's also the father of my child. I'll have to pay him child support for the next, until my son turns 18. And then, of course, I'll have to file to have Jason, the ex-fiance rapist, held in contempt of court because he left the state and took my child with me, and he hasn't even given me one visit. So there's so much going on. But the women that are forced into oppression, they are dealing with nothing but the toxic masculine. Don't you think it's ironic how women like myself are always getting hit on? We're always being I don't know, hit on or approached or just whatever, but it's never by anybody that we would ever want to see, like in our DMs or liking our photos, or it's not by anybody that we would choose. And if it's not by anybody that we would choose, and we have to settle for somebody else who's a pedophile, a trafficker, a gang stalker, a covert narcissist, a psychosadist, if it's any one of those things, then we've officially been oppressed into it. And more than likely, they've been implanted there. And so, like I've said before, the man that molested me as a baby, he was a gang stalker. And so all of the men that my mom have dealt with, more than likely, either silent operative, covert narcissist gang stalkers, or just straight up gang stalkers. And so there's a multitude of variables. And so what I was going to say, though, was this is the real reason why my mother was always having car issues, because of these gang stalkers, and because how they're always tampering and doing these intercepts to try to facilitate impoverishment and force these women into oppressed populations. So they can't pay their bills, so they will be homeless. So they can't afford health care, so they will be sick, and so on and so forth. All right, and so under part 2 of chapter 18, we've got this surveillance part, and it goes on to say how surveillance is the foundation of all operations. Both community-based agent, CBA, visual surveillance, and advanced electronic surveillance are used. So that's also why they hack the devices so they can phish. This chapter will cover only local agent visual surveillance, and they also have the ability to see us and track us from satellite as well. And so anyways, it just basically goes on to describe how this surveillance is being weaponized and why it's necessary. So you can see how it uses this surveillance to obtain information and then run this counter proliferation targeting program. So it's basically CIA blackmail, and it tortures these targets until they become reactive or suicidal. Ideally, it's a suicide mission. But it gets to the point here where it describes something that I want to go over and mention again today. The reason such detail is necessary, it says, is that the punishment phase of active surveillance requires that supervisors customize each punishment action to match the personality of the target, and the need to make each punishment action appear to be, quote, life's normal breaks, end quote.